Allegations of widespread malpractice in the NEET undergraduate 2024 examination have now sparked outrage amongst political parties who are consistently demanding a thorough investigation in the matter. The Congress has repeatedly condemned the manipulation of the NEET results and have noted the devastating effects of such practices. They've highlighted the discrepancies in the results and have also compared them to previous years, wherein only a few students had achieved a near perfect score. To speak on this, let me quickly bring in live Vivek Tankha, Senior Congress leader and Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament. Vivek Tankha, thank you very much for being with us today to speak on this big story, a story that, of course, the Supreme Court has also taken cognizance of today. What do you make of the order that came out from the Honorable Court today seeking grace marks to be scrapped to 1,563 students and a new examination to be held for them if they deem fit?
Today, I think this is the first step in the right direction. This should have happened.
Right direction. This should have happened weeks ago. It is the intransigent attitude of the NTA which prevented this. They were defending an indefendable position. But the point is, this is not the end of the manipulation. If you recollect, 67 people had perfect scores, and out of which I believe only 44 get covered in this batch of 1563. This batch of grace marks students cover only 44 of the 67. Now what happens to the remaining? There are more than 20-25 students still there. So a larger inquiry also is needed. Never before did you have more than 1, 2 or 3 students getting a perfect score. This time it was 67. Now you subtract 44, so it still remains, you still have about 27 or 26, whatever. So what I'm trying to say is that there are too many allegations which are being heard left, right and center. There are police reports in different states. I think it's high time an impartial inquiry is instituted to find out. Otherwise, the students would lose trust in the country and trust in the examination system. I mean, I am the one who fought the Vyapam case. I recollect. It took me 1.5 years to get a CBI inquiry with the help of the activists. So I know how cheating takes place or how defrauding takes place in these examinations. Unless the official machinery is part of it, unless it has the blessings of the people who matter, all this cannot happen. And I would like to know why these grace marks were given, under what formula it was given, what is the system of these grace marks, who took the decision to give the grace marks, and why those guys have not been punished so far. And I believe a Supreme Court in one of the past judgments has also said that grace marks cannot be awarded in medical and engineering cases. So in totality, I feel it's a big scam. They are trying to cover up the scam by polishing off one part. But by withdrawing one part, the larger issue of trust of the students still remains.
So what is your main demand now? Are you demanding a CBI inquiry? Are you demanding an SIT to be formed to look into this particular case, the allegation of paper leak? Do you demand a Re-NEET, the entire examination to be held again? What is your main demand now, Vivek Tankha?
Before I go to a demand of Re-NEET, which is a huge thing, and I know it puts the whole machinery into great inconvenience, and there are lakhs of students, 2.4 million students who get impacted. They should have an inquiry, a dispassionate inquiry, to see the magnitude of the unfair methods employed. You know, unless we see the magnitude, this was one magnitude which has been dealt with. But what about the other magnitudes? Now, there is nobody who is telling us about other magnitudes. There are other students also who have benefited. If the magnitude is too big and too large, then it calls for a re-examination. But that magnitude can only be judged by an impartial inquiry by somebody who is not involved in the examination system. Here the review was done by the same committee which is presided over the head of the NTA, who himself is responsible for what has happened. So a person responsible for this huge conundrum is the person investigating his own mistake. So what do you expect from that? So I feel the government will have to be fair to the students of this country, institute an impartial, time-bound inquiry, and let's have the report in week or 10 days, and then let the government or the Supreme Court decide the future course of action.
Okay. Your Congress president also today, in fact, Mallikarjun Kharge, has put out a tweet on the issue. He's, pinned the blame on the Modi government. Why do you believe the government is to blame for this controversy?
Because government controls the NTA. The NTA people who are appointed who run the NTA are all government nominees. And if these are people selected by you specially to be put in those positions, one starts getting suspicious that this is a part of a larger design for us to start a new process of recruitment. I saw that in Vyapam. It was nothing but a new process of recruitment by the government of its favorites. And the same people who head different public service commissions, the chairman of NTA today is a person who was chairman of UPSC earlier, though he didn't disclose that when he did the inquiry. He was chairman of Chhattisgarh Service Commission. He was chairman of Madhya Pradesh Service Commission. Are you trying to say that we don't have capable people in India who can serve these positions?
Okay. The Education Minister has spoken out today, Dharmendra Pradhan, who of course in fact took charge this morning itself. Dharmendra Pradhan has said that there is no proof of a leak just yet. He also said that there has been no wrongdoing by the NTA. He said though that whatever the Supreme Court says will be obeyed and will be respected.
I have 2 points here. Once he says there is no proof, has there been an investigation for you to say there is no proof? No proof can only come if there has been a fair and transparent investigation by trusted people. Number 2, if there is no wrongdoing, then why do you cancel this exam, this grace marks of 1,563 students? I mean, this is a self-contradictory statement of the Education Minister. I have seen ministers giving such statements all the time, but when it comes to being tested on the anvil of law or anvil of reasonableness, they just falter and fail. I'm sorry, Mr. Pradhan, what you've said is not acceptable to the students of India.
Okay. Not just NEET, Mr. Tankha, but we've seen many other examinations across the country, be it under Congress-ruled governments, like in Rajasthan. There also the BJP had made this into a political issue, or in other states as well, where even the BJP is in power. We've seen various controversies over examinations. Is it time to end this once and for all? Would you urge the union government to bring in perhaps a law in parliament, to deal with paper leaks, to deal with examination leaks, and would it have then bipartisan support?
I completely endorse what you're saying. I mean, this is an initiative which would be welcomed by crores of young people who are looking for a career through examination. And it doesn't matter which party is in power. If Rajasthan has a Congress government and this happens, I'm not going to defend that. If Odisha had a Biju Patnaik government earlier and they did it, I won't defend that. If Mamta Didi's government does this, I would not defend that. I say this is a wrong, it's a public wrong. And the public wrong has to be treated as a public wrong and people have to be punished. And number 2, law is one part. You bring a law. But what do you with people? People who indulge in these actions. You are putting people in place who don't deserve to be in those places. So, and then you blame the system. So main thing is to have a transparent way of appointing these people who head these NTAs and other commissions so that people have trust in these bodies.
Okay. As far as now this matter is concerned, the Supreme Court, of course, for now, as we said earlier, has ordered, of course, a re-examination for 1,563 students and grace marks will be dropped. That's something that the NTA had agreed to. What should be the immediate next steps? What would you expect in the next hearing of this case? Because the court is still seized of the matter.
I believe the matter will be now taken up on 8th of July.
Yes.
That's the date when the court reopens, the first day after court reopens. If I was a responsible government who would like to have the trust of the young people of India, I would quickly finish an impartial, fair, transparent investigation in 8-10 days, make that report public. If the magnitude is huge, cancel the exam, do a re-exam. If you can segregate and separate the bad from the good, and the good is big enough to be taken forward, then go forward with these examinations, do your counseling and finish off. Because ultimately, these students have worked very hard. They have worked for years. Most of them are from middle class family, lower middle class family. For them, it's a dream come true. And if we don't see that, and we continue with what we are doing these days by disappointing them and putting them under depression, I think we are doing a great disservice to this nation.
All right, Vivek Tankha, Senior Congress Leader and Rajya Sabha MP, thank you very much for joining us.